and welcome back to the Off-Road Adventure Show. This week we're continuing our ultimate 4x4 road trip.
Tell me, Dave, what do you reckon would be your ultimate road trip? What do you reckon?
It's pretty hard. I've planned a fair few trips over the years, and I would have to say my favourite place would have to be the Simpson Desert. So my ultimate, part of it's in Queensland,
Another swinger.
South Australia as well. The best part's in South Australia where the hot pools are. But basically it'd have to be the Simpson Desert, followed by something around the corners, I reckon.
So we'd love it if you'd head on over to the website and let us know who you think is absolutely nailing these challenges.
New South Wales.
Maybe not.
Look, the thing that I love about this Outback road trip for New South Wales is we're following a route called Sturt Steps. Now, this is a route that's being built at the moment, actually. So
really?
it's kind of there, but in the next year or so, there's going to be all kinds of signposts, extra museums, all kinds of stuff.
That's cool.
It's awesome. And the team are on their way to meet one of the people who have put this whole thing together and experience her property, which is about 500,000 acres.
I can't get my head around that. Let's check it out.
Borgie, I think an old friend might be back.
Is that the recovery vehicle there?
I think that is the Recovery Ranger, yes.
Oh, it's on.
Oh, Borgie, I don't have a good feeling about this. What are you talking about?
Well, Mark, whenever the Recovery Ranger popped up down in Tassie last season, it's pretty much spelt the start of a challenge. All right, guys, we've got the magic iPad here, lays out the challenge, and guess what we've got? We've got a drag race. Again, we've got a drag race, but this one's a little bit different. We've got no mods to the vehicles. That's a condition, so get rid of your turbo. That'll be good. And we've got the loser buys the first round of beers at Tibooburra pub tonight. We've also got, we must be in low range, so this is not going to be a very fast race. And I've got rock crawler gears in my thing.
These are two of the most modified Land Cruisers in Australia. What chance have I got?
You've got a Prado.
Exactly, yeah.
All I can say is I don't want to be shouting around at the pub tonight, so I reckon we get up to the start line, and apparently we've got a perfect line lined up, ready to go, and let's go do it.
Well, last year it was treads and I can't see any along here, but, you know, you lead the way, Boogie.
All right, I'm off. Let's do it.
Got me head on backwards, I'm ready for this.
Now, I know they said no mods, but I need to even the playing field here, so I'm going to tuck these mirrors in, make me a bit more aerodynamic, and I've got a little trick for Alicia too.
Alrighty. Woo! Let's make this happen! What the? Borgie!
Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning's winning.
Righto, Borgie. This started off as a fun race between mates, but this has gotten a little too serious.
Right, I've got my eye on Borgie this time.
Look how many gears I'm allowed to use. Can't imagine Borgie's going to be honest with this race, so I'm going to use all of them.
In 3, 2, 1,
This is not a fair race.
go.
Oh, what'd she do? She take it off. All right, hopefully I don't max out here. Oh, this is it. I hope she doesn't round me up. I think I've got it. I think I've got you, Leishy. The Prado's coming home strong.
I'm too scared I'm going to run into one of you two.
Oh, I was redlining it the whole way.
I'm going to chalk that up as a win for the taxi.
I don't know about that. I reckon there was some tactics going on there because as I took off, you two just went, and there was no room for me to get through.
Fair game. It's speedway conditions. What can I say?
We're on the dirt. Winning is winning. That's all I'm going to say.
I will say though, when I looked down and I saw my engine at 4,000 revs, I backed right off though.
You know what I'm going to say? If there was a couple of turtles here, they'd probably beat us anyway.
Nah, definitely. Well, I reckon it's my shout at the pub then, so I might go home and go to bed, eh?
I'm not going to say.
Tibooburra is the largest town in Corner Country, but don't let that fool you into expecting an IGA or even a Kmart. The large boat that you see mounted in the air is a full-size replica of the one that Charles Sturt brought out here.
So guys, we've had a heap of fun sort of heading along this track with a lot of the history in the area, but now we're actually going to be starting to head out to some of the stations.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a shift with all this drought and COVID circumstances, and that these stations are now opening the door to travellers, and it's a win-win situation for everyone, really. Well, make no mistake, this is an Outback museum. Now, all of this equipment has been sourced and brought here from local surrounding farms, and it's a really good example of what they had to work with back in the day. Now, make no mistake, it looks old, but this was the pinnacle of farming equipment. Before this stuff come along, it was a lot of hammer work and a lot of shovel work. The one thing that really amazes me is they didn't have eBay, they didn't have Bunnings back in the day. They had to use and work with what they've got, and you can really see that. They've sourced all the wood from around here, and obviously it would have been a bit of a task to get all the metalwork side of things down here as well. It's quite amazing to see. If you're in the Tibooburra region, do yourself a favour, pop down and check it out for yourself.
Driving with anything hooked up behind your car, whether it be a boat, a box trailer or a camper trailer, means that you really need to look at your driving style and how you're actually caring for the car. Obviously when you've got a camper trailer, it's adding a fair bit of weight to the back of your car, so you need to make sure that your car's designed and suited for that sort of weight of that camper trailer. When we're towing camper trailers out into rough areas like this, we always make sure there's a couple of things that we go over before we leave. We always double check every bolt. If you can see a bolt, go and check it. And we use a lot of inox or WD-40 and sprays like that, which will give everything a little bit of lubrication and protect it all overall. Once we hit the dirt, we always drop our tyre pressures down to anywhere from about 25 to 30 psi. What that does is it actually helps with the not only with the grip and the traction of your vehicle, but it also helps to absorb some of the heavy bumps, ruts and divots that are in the road.
Just a little tip for whenever you're driving in a convoy, especially out in these outback regions where everyone seems to spread apart to keep away from the dust. What you've got to do is make sure you don't turn any corners without the vehicle behind you knowing where you've turned. So the best way to do that is to what they call mark the corner. Now, it doesn't have to be marking a corner like a dog would with one leg up. It means to stop at the corner and wait till the vehicle behind you can easily spot you. Even radio ahead to make sure they've got you, and then take off. And that way you don't leave anybody behind and nobody misses the corner and keeps going straight.
Oh, slow down guys, we've got Ruth up ahead, just coming up to the gate. Let's go say hey.
Ruth is the same Ruth we met last episode at Milparenka Museum. She and husband John own a 100,000 acre cattle and sheep property. They have opened their gates to travellers to explore their property and offer pet-friendly camping as well.
So it looks like we've got a bit of a treat, guys. I was just talking to Ruth. She's actually got a creek bed down here that she's thinking about turning into a four-wheel drive track. So she's asked if we can pop down, have a look at it and see what we think.
It's always very interesting because I'm going to four-wheel drive to do a four-wheel drive track, so we might see how far I get, hey?
I think we're going to have to call you two-wheel drive leash from now on.
Oh, you've been waiting all day for that one, haven't you?
He's got to plan these things, you know. It's probably been written down in his car for hours.
It's been knocking around for a little while, but anyway, this should be a whole heap of fun.
It's not hard to find a great campsite around here. We're going to unhitch the trailers and set up camp now, as we're not really sure what to expect with the terrain ahead. I am already looking forward to a bevy around the fire tonight. Although this heat, I might be sitting well back from it.
We have already aired down to the dirt, but we're heading into a sandy creek bed, and I'm going to need everything that I can get. So we're going to go down a little bit further.
I'd say the last water around here, some time ago.
All right, guys, let's do it. It's always excited when you're heading down a track for the first time. especially this one, because it's actually, well, I think we could be the first ones to ever drive down it. Ruth tells me that she's never been down it and doesn't know of anybody else who has either, which leads me to believe we either are the first four-wheel drives down here or definitely the first in a very long time. Exciting stuff.
Hopefully, because this is a dry riverbed, hopefully it is still a little bit compacted and not too soft, so it could be interesting, like now. Hey, Boggs.
Oh no, looks like Leisha's stuck already. This sand is actually quite soft. You know, I reckon there's nothing better than a big day on the tracks and then coming back to camp and cooking up a hearty camp feed straight in the camp oven. Now, the one I've got for you today, it's lamb chops and sausage casserole. It's a bit of a family favourite because I've been cooking it for a long time. In fact, my grandmother used to cook this one. What I love about this one is it's a big one-pot wonder. Throw everything in the camp oven and let it cook. Now what we've got is we've got some sausages. Get some with plenty of flavour. Then we've also got some lamb chops. Go for the 4/4 chops if you can, the ones with the bigger bone, not the smaller bone. That way they don't break up as it's cooking in the camp oven. All right, we're going to kick this one off by getting your lamb chops, popping them straight in the bottom. Now the idea is we're going to sort of layer everything in there. So a couple of sausages can go in there as well. Sweet potato, throw them on top. Now you want to chop them so they're not too thin, a little bit of thickness in there. That way it cooks about the same time as the meat will as well. And then we're going to pop gravy, a bit of gravy box in there. I'm just going to pour that over the top like that. And we're going to throw some curry powder straight over there. So it sort of comes out very casserole-y, this one. That's the whole idea of it. Beautiful. And then of course, some Worcestershire sauce, which is going to sweeten it up a little bit. Sort of tame that curry powder down a bit. Now what's next? We're going to repeat the process. So more lamb chops straight on top. And that's the key to this, it's layering it. All right, and then we're going to do it again. Gravy, just repeat the layers. Gravy powder, a bit of curry powder in there. And while this is all being prepared, you want a campfire going nice and early. Give it an hour or so beforehand because you want plenty of nice red hot coals there to cook it. All right, now once you've done all of your layers, we're going to pop in a bit of onion. So the onion's just going to go right over the top, just like so. Cool, and then we're going to get our crushed tomatoes. Now I'm going to go with 2 tins of tomatoes, mainly because I've got them here. This adds plenty of flavour. Last but not least, I'm going to put a little bit of water in there as well. It's mainly to help that gravy powder sort of form into a bit more of a gravy. Pop the lid on, bung it straight on the fire. Alrighty, we're going to dish this one up because I can smell it from over there. Now what you want to check for here is the potatoes are cooked. If the potatoes are cooked, the meat's going to be spot on as well. Look at that lamb chop, absolutely beautiful, ready to go. There's some potato, where's the sausage? There we are. I'll give it a little taste test. So much flavour packed into this one pot. And that's the beauty with this one, it's one pot, so there's not much washing up to do either. Give it a go for yourself, you'll love it.
All right, well, we're one woman down, 100 metres in. But let's just keep going and see how far you two get, hey?
It was just unfortunately mechanical things, but nah, let's give it a crack.
I was getting sprayed with dust in the window from Boggs driving, wow. I think this one might be a bit of an obstacle for you though, maybe just up.
Yeah, I might go up and around this one. This is just so easy to get tyre spikes in here.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to go down there.
Yeah.
Unless you want to risk it and go for a bit of a snowboard down the side.
Actually, you know what? I'd love to do that.
Oh, there you go.
You'd be surprised where those Prados can go.
Oh, completely.
I used to give them a hard time, but I've seen them getting some pretty cool spots.
But he definitely has got further than me, so I can't really talk.
Well, that's... I think we're coming up towards the end of the creek here. Wasn't too much of a challenge, but I definitely wouldn't do it in two-wheel drive, hey Leash?
No comment.
The temperature's dropped, we've got no phone reception, and we have laughter, music, and friendship. This, people, is as good as it gets. This morning we're meeting up with the owners of the station, John and Ruth, who are going to lead the way to the salt pan on their property.
So John's just let us know that things could go either way now, because we're about to turn off the fence line, go a bit cross country. There's not actually a track to follow, which is a little bit different than what we're used to.
It is, and he did sort of say something I thought was quite funny. He said, look, there is no track, and he goes, and it's different every time.
Yeah. Well, it's the first time he's driven it every time, because he's never gone the same way twice.
Exactly.
Charles Sturt actually passed through this property on his inland expedition, and Ruth fills us in on some of the history.
You mentioned before kangaroo dogs. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Well, the crew had 200 sheep that they'd walked from Adelaide to obviously provide meat during the expedition. So they had sheepdogs to help keep them in tow, but they also had kangaroo dogs which were trained to pull down kangaroos, so that meat could also be used for the camp.
Alrighty guys, that's the end of this episode, and we've had an awesome time being able to follow along Sturt's steps on this particular journey.
Yeah, that's right. It's been really great just being able to see how hardy our early explorers must have been to traverse this land all those years ago.
Definitely, and also we've met some amazing characters along the way, guys that are really looking after this land as well.
That's right. I think the one thing that I'm quite curious to see is how Mark is going to get paddling out there with no water.
Look, I think the heat has started to get to Mark from Signature.
I mean, he's lost it. What, that canoe's going to work? Come on, even I know that doesn't work.
It's a big salt lake though. So look, this week has been another great example of some awesome places you can visit on a four-wheel drive road trip.
Absolutely it has. Now, we would love you to head on over to the website and vote for the challenge that you think is winning. Is it Fraser Island? Is it out there in the New South Wales Outback?
We've got some great stuff coming up next week, so why don't you guys sit back and check out next week's promo.
Next week on the Off-Road Adventure Show, our teams kick off the final part of the ultimate 4x4 road trip with New South Wales heading to Mount Gips Station. Mount Gips has amazing terrain, some great history, and just down the road is the town of Silverton, where the team have some interesting experiences up their sleeve. There's an overnight diff fix to get Leish's cruiser back on the track, and one of the best Outback sunsets you'll ever get to see. Jamie and Jess, along with Cal from Club 4x4 and Mike from Clearview, are heading to the most remote part of Fraser Island, Sandy Cape. But has Mike bitten off more than he can chew? Also this week, Queensland head to Kingfisher Bay Resort to take in some of the luxuries of Fraser Island. Tune in next week to see the adventure. The Off-Road Adventure Show is proudly brought to you by Signature Camper Trailers, Opposite Lock, GME and Tough Dog. Do you want to see all the extra content? Head over to the Off-Road Adventure Show website where you'll find our recipes, director's cuts and all the bonus bits. Plus, don't forget to enter our competition where you could win a camper trailer or a share in over 40 grand of prizes.